Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's up, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling. I'm Brandon Benefield, alongside the great Gerard Bonner and the beautiful Diana Michelle. You guys, we were coming off of a whirlwind of an award show last Friday, the GWH first ever award show and gala, and it was pretty wild. We actually ended up hosting it, and of course, winning some awards as well along the way. So, how are you guys feeling a week removed from the award show? Diana, how you feeling?
I had a great time. I mean, I knew we would, because anytime you get to be with all your friends and family from this world of wrestling, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. And we don't get to do that very often. Right. We see each other at shows, but we don't get to interact and just kick back, relax, have a good time, have a meal, a couple whatever, and just enjoy. Somebody said it was strong. I had one. It was all right. So
that's what I heard.
I don't know what it's saying. I don't know if that means it's not strong, or I'm just not. I need to chill a bit. I don't know. Either way, I had a ball. I'd like to dress up. I like to see you guys dress up. I like to see everybody else dressed up. And for once, all the guys had their shirts on and pants on, it's just a different atmosphere, it was awesome. It was great. It was so much fun.
GB, what about you, buddy?
I had a great time. Award shows are always fun, and we don't get to do them very often in pro wrestling. And so getting to do that, and again, to be together on a night where we can celebrate what our peers are doing, what our friends in the business are doing, and people we haven't had a chance to meet yet that we get to meet for the first time. So it was really a great night. I'm still very honored that we were even asked to host. I mean, I think that said a lot about what they think of us, that they trust us to help carry this first ever show. There may be many others after, but there'll never be another first. And so I'm grateful that we got a chance to do it, see some great music, great moments, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And, we got to win a few awards as well. So it was a good night, a really, really good night.
Yeah. I want to give a big shout out to Nagicism, who was, from my understanding and from what I could tell the night of the show, was mostly the brains behind the whole operation and putting this whole thing together. I think even really originally coming up with the idea of, hey, we do these awards every year, or GWH does these awards every year. Why don't we do it award show style? Like actually have, especially after, what was it, 2020, I think was the first year they actually presented trophies. Correct. And, I always had heard some of the wrestlers saying, well, why don't we have an event to where you can present them to the winners? And so
when I first heard about the awards, I thought it was a thing. I thought it was a time where everybody got together and had an awards ceremony or a party. I mean, I was like, wow, I'd like to go to that. But then to find out that we didn't have that, I was like, oh, so I don't have to get all dolled up to accept this award over the phone. Okay, that's cool. That's cool if that's the way you want to do it. I mean, I'm not complaining. Either way, it was fun, but I had a lot of fun just being with everybody and networking and, just hanging out,
Yeah, that's really where a lot of the camaraderie gets to happen, and what I loved about it. And for those who are unfamiliar, because I'm sure people don't necessarily know, prior to this year, the awards, there was a voting period, nomination period, and then the awards were presented on a podcast called which podcast
Tipping Point.
Is this? The Tipping Point. I almost called it Tipping Out. Hilarious. The Tipping Point podcast.
I almost called it Turning Point. So
there
good
you
thing Diana's here to save us.
So the Tipping Point podcast is there where they would announce the winners, and by all means, still really always prestigious to have your peers decide to vote on you and speak well of you. But there's something different about when you get dressed up, where you really make it a thing, where you're going to eat, you have a great environment. And it really added another layer of prestige to the entire night. And the other thing that you miss when it's via podcast is you don't get to be in the same room and celebrate with people, win, lose, or draw, like you don't get that moment. So we got to do all of those things this past Friday night. And I just thought it was so, so special.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it really was. And it's one of those things, and really it's just like everything else in the world. You're gonna have naysayers, you're gonna have people that are gonna, try to put it down before it even happens. And it's like, just, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't. My mom told me that since I was a little kid. Don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
It's that easy. Some
Well,
people
and-
just can't help it. But here's the thing. Then we got there, and I think it exceeded everybody's expectations. I mean,
Absolutely.
even the three of us, we were looking forward to it. And I
Sure.
We
still
didn't know what to expect.
right. And it
Right.
still exceeded my expectations, and I was actually
Absolutely.
excited about it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I just thought it went above and beyond what we all thought it was going to be. And even us getting put in there as the hosts, we were like, we didn't have a script, no teleprompters. Like, we'll wing this, we're pros. We can make this happen.
Yeah, you guys talk all the time. I say a few things and then I get out of the ring and out of the limelight. You guys talk constantly throughout the whole show. So y'all were fine. I'm just over here like,
You were great.
You crushed
what
it.
do I
You were
if I'm put on the
great.
spot when I can throw a song out there in a minute because I know the lyrics.
Ooh,
but when
yeah.
when I have to talk,
Next year, GB.
then
Next
I
year.
get nervous.
We should have had her performing.
I know.
That'd be
I'm just
great.
thinking
No.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was another cool thing. We ended up having three great musical
Performances,
guests,
yeah.
which I even said
Absolutely.
Dancing.
as we opened the show, I had said that, a great wrestling show should be like a buffet, a little bit of different flavors for different
Yeah.
people. And that was definitely what our musical guests were, because
Absolutely.
the first band was like this, like heavy metal, thrash metal, whatever you want to call it. And then then you had Aubrey, who came out, and she was this, I don't even know
Kind
what
of
kind of,
folky.
yeah,
Maybe
folky.
folky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we had hip hop. I think it was Silas, right?
Yeah. King
came
King
out.
Silas.
Silas.
Silas, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Ancient Void was the first band, by the way.
Ancient Void.
Correct.
I don't want to not
Correct.
name all the groups,
Good
but it was
memory.
Yes.
the Ancient
Yes.
Void, Aubrey,
Mhm.
and King Silas were our musical guests. And that was kind of, to my knowledge, I think kind of a last minute addition to the entire show. But I think it made it feel even bigger and feel even more like
For sure.
an award show you'd see on television,
Absolutely.
So all the presenters that were there, thanks to all of them for coming out and presenting awards. And it was just such a neat experience. Like you guys said, we joke over the years that the Rumble Jack is like the one big show where it's like a big, it's always a mini reunion for us every month. But as far as a
Right.
big reunion where we see folks that we don't see throughout the entire year, the Rumble Jack is usually when that takes place, because you got to bring in 30 different competitors, and these aren't all guys that are there every month,
Right.
So that's kind of our yearly big reunion, it seems like. And then this came along, this being the
Yeah.
first year we attempted something like this. And hopefully, like we said the other night, hopefully it becomes an annual thing and it happens every year. And with the success of the other night, I don't see why it wouldn't.
Absolutely.
But
That's
yeah,
good.
it was so neat. And like you said, Diana, we get dressed up for the SHW shows, but in regular life, when I'm outside of there, I'm never getting in a tux. I'm never dressing up unless I'm going to a wedding or something.
Look at us
Look,
on this
I work in a
podcast. We're
law
chilling.
office.
Right,
and
right.
I still wear jeans to work. I mean, just
Yeah.
because it's cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But and to me, I got to dress differently than what I would normally dress in the ring.
Yeah.
I still dressed up, but I got to
It was
dress.
sweet.
I got to turn it up a little bit on my, slick side, not the leather pants and bustier and whatever.
Yeah.
But I had a good time. I got to show out a little bit, though, when I can wear a suit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
And
as
that
hat.
and don't
Can
get
we
to
talk
wear a
about that
suit.
hat?
And my hat. And
I
the
will
hat.
say, by the way, I think it was kind of the night of hats. There were numerous hats.
There were.
That's right. That's right.
Grandpa had a hat
Grandpa
on.
had a hat.
Grandpa was
Hankins had a
killing.
hat. Eventually, I mean, he was like
Yeah,
without
costume changes.
Hankins
It was
costume
had
changes.
hilarious.
Exactly.
Yeah, Hankins
Yeah.
had multiple costumes,
Yeah.
outfits,
Outfits.
suits,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a Halloween costume. That's
No.
not what I meant. But no, he looked good. He had multiple outfit
Yeah.
changes. You had just everybody being dressed up in their different
Carly was
styles.
wearing a hat.
And
Yeah.
shout out to
Yeah.
our friends, the Rittmans, Jeff and Nadine, and of course,
Yeah.
Jags. They had
Yeah.
hit me up ahead of time, and they were like, "Hey, are we supposed to dress up for this thing? Or are the fans supposed to dress up?" And I told them, I said,
Mhm.
"Look, they're promoting this as a formal event here. So
Yeah.
the nominees, the
killed it.
wrestlers, the presenters will be dressed up for the most part."
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
said, but I think the fans, it would be great if the fans dress up too. Next thing
Sure.
I know, prior to the show, I'm seeing pictures where they're out shopping for suits and blazers and dresses, and I was like, oh, they're coming in hot. Okay,
absolutely.
I wouldn't expect anything less from them, though. Good Lord.
They're awesome. And so it was a lot of fun to see them. And of course, Jack's out there on the dance floor cutting it up,
killing it.
Oh, absolutely. And so just an all around fun night, man. I tell you what. And Diana, in the words of Booker T, you looked good.
Hey.
You
I felt good. I had a good time. I enjoyed just being me. That's me outside of the ring. That's me. So, it was fun.
Cool. It was fun to see.
It was awesome.
Yeah, seeing faces we hadn't seen in a while, and again, like GB said, seeing people we've never even actually met before. Like it's
right.
The thing is, there are so many promotions in Georgia that you don't even realize. And all these people are showing
faces and names together.
Right. That's the thing. I've heard a lot of these names before, but I've never been down to that promotion, or we've all been to a bunch of promotions to see shows, but there are just so many that I hadn't made them all. And meeting the different people for the first time from different places, and it was just cool, and kind of putting names with faces. Oh, okay, that's who you are. Okay, I've heard your name. I've heard you did this or had this match, and so it was a really fun night. But I do want to congratulate my compadres here, Diana Michelle and Gerard Bonner, becoming 3-time award winners. And there it is.
Not to be confused with Overkill,
not Overkill. We're not part of Overkill. But man, what a blast. What about, and there's still pictures being released. I know the first batch of photos went up.
Yes, I'm ready for those red carpet ones.
Yeah,
but I'm curious, Brandon.
Yes.
Have you been slapped with a lawsuit yet?
Well, I'm aware of what you're alluding to. I'm not. I'll put it this way.
Do we have the footage for people to see what happened?
Oh my God. Can we do that? Are you allowed?
Are you allowed to show the footage, or will SHW get in trouble?
We're not in trouble.
Here's the thing.
I know this is their podcast, so
our SHW pod legal team has advised me not to really speak on the matter.
Okay.
That's not to say that you guys can't. And that's also to say that GB, you can't show the video. I can't, but that's not to say you can't. So if you wanted to show it right now, then you would show it right.
Let's show it now. Instead of me describing it, you guys watch. This is what happened.
Where's the lovely, well, I shouldn't say lovely. Where's Diana Michelle?
Don't do it!
Oh,
don't do it!
You're looking ready as always, baby. Let's go ahead and take it. Security! Security!
And I'm like, you know what? My honor has been defended by my buddy here, and it was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, Diana, I didn't. You know what? For all the things we talked about, I never did ask you how you felt in that night with obviously Bryce hurling things out, but Brandon actually getting up and defending you in the middle of the award he was nominated for.
Well, check it. See, did we know that? Yeah, we did know that. You guys are my brothers. I say it. I claim you guys as my brothers, and Brandon acted just like my brother would have acted. He would have got one. I have two brothers, literally. Yeah. Either one of them would have gotten up and beat the snot out of whoever was talking trash to me. I was perfectly comfortable with my brothers doing that. It was like second nature. I was just like, oh gosh, okay. Handle that. Handle my lightweight up there, because
Yeah.
It was perfect. I mean, don't laugh, Brandon. You're gonna get in trouble.
Well, I just, hey, you know what? Part of what happens when we are at SHW or behind the booth is we are kind of in a space where we are there to do our jobs, and sometimes we do want to, get in the ring and say something or whatever. But
something,
but this was just, I don't even know that Brandon actually thought about it, because it happened so fast.
It
Like he
did.
literally, Bryce said what he said, and before I knew it, Brandon was up. And I was
Hey.
like, oh,
Actually, right. I was watching Bryce because anytime he says my name, it's going to be full of trash. He's going to say something derogatory or just rude because he is a walk-in circus sideshow he's going to do that. And before I could realize that Brendan had gotten up from my right side, I looked up and I saw him at the corner of my eye from about
Yeah,
20 feet away. He was already
Yeah.
making his way up the ramp and
yeah.
Hey,
keep his name out your mouth.
you know,
That's all.
I will just say this, and this is not to infringe on the rights of Ernest the Cat Miller, but I have been called cat-like as far as my
Oh,
quickness.
Your reflexes.
I'm quick.
Okay.
You guys didn't realize
Okay.
that. I'm light on my feet, man. I'm quick.
Sometimes you rhyme slow,
You're usually
sometimes you rhyme
behind the
quick. I
table
got
and
you.
you're usually behind the table and you have no way to get out really fast. I mean, you kind of have to go
Right.
around Gerard or around the table if you were to get out.
But his backup game is strong. Like
his backup game is strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But he was.
So here's what
Yeah, I
happened
noticed
the other night. GB got
Yeah.
upset and jealous because I didn't defend him when David Ali brought the bat. Because I backed up. Like,
It was, yeah,
He's
yeah. He just
or when Judas came over and got him by the scruff, I went, "Whoop."
yeah.
I'm over here
I mean, his
searching on
backup
Amazon.
game
What
is
are y'all
He has
strong.
learned.
Strong. So,
And it is
but
different when somebody's in your face rather than somebody's on a.
very,
It's
and
different.
it's knee jerk, but I don't know that anybody was upset with what Brandon did except for maybe the folks from Exotic Youth.
I
They
will
were
say,
Zach and Pep.
and again, I shouldn't say too much, but I will just say this, that
be careful.
there have been some posts, some of the videos made the rounds, some of the photos made the rounds on social media in the past week. A lot of people are liking, laughing emoji or, the different things.
Mhm.
However, also other folks that are seeing these are Exotic Youth. And I have received some messages and some comments from Zach Mosley. Surprisingly not from Bryce himself, but from Zach.
Wow.
And Pep. So they left it off with, "Hey, we'll talk to you at the next SHW show." And I was like,
boy.
"Oh, okay. Well,
and that's in 2 weeks.
yeah." So I don't know. Maybe in 2 weeks it'll die down. Something else will happen to them between now and then. Hopefully, I don't know.
Let's
but
hope so.
That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
Well, if Zach comes after you, I'm going to knock his cane out from under him.
That's what I was going to say. I'm not super worried about him because he's still got the cane.
Yeah.
And I'm quick like a cat, so I can.
You are.
Get away.
But there are 3 of them. So
that's true.
I mean, well.
Anyways.
Oh, good times.
But
Fun
hey,
times.
other than that, there was other fun things that happened at the
Yes.
at the award show. So
Yeah, like we actually won awards. Like,
so that was what was interesting too, is like that incident happened. And I wasn't even processing that, this is the award for Gerard and myself that they're presenting. And so it was a little odd and awkward for that to have happened and then to get called back up there to win the award. So I actually didn't really get to say what I really wanted to say, nor did I really have much of a speech prepared anyway. I know GB is a lot more, when it comes to thought out
on a dime
things. I got up there and it was just kind of a spur of the moment. But now that we have this forum, let me just go ahead and once again thank everybody that voted for Gerard and myself, and I'll throw Diana in there as well for voting for her, as she's now a 3-time winner as well. But one thing that I wanted to say that I didn't get a chance to the other night, and I think we touched on this the last 2 years, GB, as a matter of fact, is that what we're doing there is not only, like GB said, telling the stories, but our goal is to put the wrestlers over, put the action in the ring over. So when I started doing this over 4 years ago, October of 2018, it was never to get any shine on myself. You know what I mean? It was to call the action, put the guys over in the ring, the guys and girls. And I never even in my mind thought about there being recognition or an award for what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I just never even crossed my mind. And so once 2020 rolled around and they decided for the first year ever they were going to create a commentary team of the year award, then all of a sudden, people are all talking to us about it and like, "Oh, I think you guys can win this." I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that was just never anything that really crossed my mind. So I'm very appreciative of it, and I'm thankful for even getting nominated in the first place. But then to win it is very cool, and the fact that it's our peers that are the ones voting for this makes it even that much more special. But again, it was never something that I'm like seeking, if that makes it, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm not going out there like I've got to win this award, and I've got to these other commentators. I'm like competing with them. Like, I'm not even thinking that way, and I know Gerard's
No,
not
you're
either.
just doing your job. You just
Right.
call them as you should.
So, anyways, it's just one of those things that's kind of just a little icing on the cake for what we do, because I love what we do anyway, and the fact that we have been recognized the last 3 years and have actually won this award has been very cool to me, in our opinion, and pretty special. So, thank you again to everybody, and I probably would have been played off the stage at this point had I said all that the other night, because I know DJ Tonic was quick on the trigger for some of those speeches.
For some of them,
Right.
not enough of them. But
Right. So, anyways, I'm glad we have this forum here to be able to express a little more thankfulness, because again, after the incident the other night, I was in the zone, and I honestly, until I saw the video, I didn't even really remember what I said the other night. I knew I pitched it off to GB at some point. I was like, I don't know, GB.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thank you again.
No, Diana, did you have anything additional you wanted to say in regards to that, or
In regards to the whole Bryce thing, or just
or any additional speech things that you didn't get to say?
I really had no idea what I was going to say. I mean, and I got thinking about it more like what you said. I didn't have time to just sit up there and tell how I got into the business.
Sure.
But I should have, and I wish I did, give my shout out again to Rico Rodriguez, who brought me in. He saw me on an Instagram post or something. I don't know where he saw me, honestly. A video at NWA, Georgia. I had no idea. Somehow. And then he found me on Instagram, asked me if I was interested. I told him no. It took him 3 months to convince me. And I'm really glad I finally said yes. Really, really glad, because I'm going to do it.
I think GB knew. We're going to get some waterworks here.
No, I'm telling you, I'm trying not to. Being a part of this whole wrestling family is just special. It is. And I appreciate it. And now I will stop. I can't say much more. I will bust out in tears. And either way, thank you guys for all your votes and support and booking me and all these shows, and anybody else that need me or want me. Let's talk. Let's do it. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's actually funny. So much happened Friday night where, after I wasn't exactly thinking straight either. It was just like, and then I was thinking, some elements at the start of the show that weren't connected to us ran really long. So I'm also thinking about, okay, let's move the show. I don't want to be
right,
in the way.
right.
But I am, it's interesting because, and I think I can tell this, when we won the first year, there were some folks who I guess were kind of like, who are these new guys, right? Like, who are these new guys who've come in and they hadn't, some of them had not experienced what we do, or how we are. And I remember when we won that first night and some of the commentary that happened as we were, receiving the award, and we both kind of, talked afterwards, like, did that just happen? That felt kind of weird.
Shady.
And
it was the old backhanded compliments.
Yeah, it was very Kanye West, Taylor Swift-ish, like Beyonce had the greatest video of all time, kind of thing, right? And so I think to watch what has happened over the last couple of years, to watch us really garner the respect of so many of our peers. Shout out again to all of the wrestlers. So many wrestlers have been so kind in going back and actually listening to our commentary and enjoying our commentary. And that means a lot. And I think I can say this, hopefully I won't get in trouble for it, but one of the things that I think was really big for us this year was being able to expand our reach and range outside of SHW, to be able to do some work with other promotions. And that was a big deal for me. I won't necessarily speak for Brandon. It was a big deal for me because, you know, when you do things at home, you know, SHW is an amazing place and we have a lot of amazing things that happen. But as Brandon mentioned, there are so many promotions in this state that it's very easy to miss what else is happening in the rest of the state in terms of wrestling, storylines, promotions, etc.
Right.
And for me, you know, for us to be able to prove our worth outside of our home base was very, very significant. And I felt like this year was the opportunity that we had to be able to do that in multiple spaces. And so for all of those spaces, including Southern Honor, to be able to respect us in the way that they have has been monumental. And so I really value that. It means a lot. You know, I won't get super emotional, or at least I'll try not to, but I will say that what we do is so important to us.
Yeah.
It is, we put a lot of work and a lot of effort into preparing. Many don't know the hours that we take in terms of preparing, you know, in terms of talking about these wrestlers, learning things about them, following what they've been doing from month to month and promotion to promotion. And what people don't understand is as you're adding more promotions, you know, that's more to remember. That's more stories to properly tell and to tell them in the context of that specific universe, right? Like it's a lot. And I'm grateful that, again, so many people have trusted us in the ways that they have. I did a very interesting count at the end of last year, and I had noticed that amongst all the promotions and all the matches, that I'd called almost 200 matches in 2022,
Wow.
which is an insane number of matches,
Wow.
you know?
Yeah.
And so it is an honor that we get to do this. And that we get to do this on the scale and the level that we do. And so I'm grateful to all of the fans who take the time to go back on IWTV or to watch this podcast or to go on to all of the other places you can find our work, and you check it out and you enjoy it. You know, the people who hop on Twitter, who aren't even in this area, who are watching from around the country, who have found value in what we do. Those things really matter. And you know, I know that well, I'll say this, for all of the places that we get to work and do things, you know, Southern Honor has always been home. And so it is really awesome to be able to represent the home team in a space like that, and to have so many wrestlers have so many positive things to say. So I'm incredibly grateful that we get to do this. And I say this all the time off air, but I say it on air as well. I'm glad I get to do this with you guys.
Yes.
We have been on this journey together, and we get to experience the highs and the lows, and to be able to host that event together, to be able to win these awards and be in the same room with each other, cheering each other on, filming each other. Like this is not what we do. This is us. Like, I know that's a TV show, but this is really who we are. We really love each other. We really value each other. We really talk all the time. You know, this is who we are. And to even have us announced as V3 at the award show, like that was so big to me. I was like, oh my God, like they really know this is a thing. Like this is a thing. So thank you guys so much. And we're not done.
No.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet by a long shot. Oh man.
Gosh, I swear if people could see the conversations that we've had and how we bounce things off of each other and and hey, who is this guy and what is he, where does he work, or what has he done? Give me his accomplishment. Just the help that we are to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm going to ask, okay, I haven't worked here, I haven't worked there. Who is this guy and what does he do? So I can have some kind of background when I do announce. Of course, I'm going to go to the person exactly and say, hey, what's your information? But just to be able to bounce ideas and talk to you guys every day and share and just be unapologetically us
Yes.
with each other. And I mean, I need you guys, you know?
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this. I am glad that the majority of our off-air conversations are not made public.
Thank God.
Because ain't nobody else needs to be hearing those conversations.
No.
But man, it was an absolutely awesome night. And let me just shout out, there were several folks from the SHW roster that were some award winners the other night. Folks that you can see upcoming on February 10th at SHW 48, as a matter of fact. Big time shout out to Nick Halen. Okay,
Hey.
Nick Halen not only won overall wrestler, but he won
for him.
He won the Kyle Matthews Best Technician.
Right.
And then I believe it was it Match of the Year with Joe Black?
Yes.
It
I
was.
think that was the other one. So he was a
Black,
three-time
yes.
winner there. And then, of course, AC Mack tied Nick Halen for overall wrestler of the year. They tied with votes. Unfortunately, Matt couldn't be with us, but we did chat with him afterwards to congratulate him. And he sent a video in. I think it's posted online. You can see his acceptance speech.
On the website, the Georgia Wrestling History website.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so he won wrestler of the year, but he also won promo of the year for his promo after he won the IWTV World title.
Did you were you shocked at that? Because that was
not shocked at all. What a night.
I almost am hesitant to mention this one, but a tip of the cap to Exotic Youth. They did win best tag team / stable. They
For the second year in a row
successfully defended their title from last year and are now 2-time winners as well there. So congrats to them. It feels so weird to be nice to them, but anyway,
does that feel like dirt in your mouth?
It just
does it grind in your teeth?
Yeah.
it's grinding my gears. It's what it's doing. No,
is that right?
Anyways, Carly Bravo. Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, not that.
Or
I didn't mean
Candyman.
like that. That's a quote from a show. I didn't even. Now that I see what you meant, you. I know now what you thought I meant.
Keep saying his name. He will appear.
I never said the name. Anyways.
You did.
You totally did.
Well, I said grinding my gears.
That's all you gotta say.
Don't say it anymore. He's gonna hack the podcast.
That's not his name.
Okay.
Anyways, and that's from a show. And now, but I realized what you thought I meant, but that's not what I meant. Anyways, Carly Bravo is where I was going to the next congratulatory message. He got most improved. And I think he was mighty close to being an overall wrestler of the year. But he was up for it.
Male performer.
Or male performer.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And but he was the most improved. What's so strange to me about that is I forget just how new he still is in the business, or just how young, I guess, he still is in the business, because he's so improved that going into, I guess, his third year at this point, or coming off his second year, whatever it is, wherever he is in his, we saw him at his very first match. I just can't get my years straight. But it just seems like he's been around a while.
Yeah.
Because usually the most improved wrestler are typically the younger guys who are still fairly new in the business. And that's not always the case, but usually. And so for him to get that, of course he deserved it. Of course he earned it. But it just kind of threw me because I was like, oh, yeah, it's Carly. But I feel like he's like, I don't know. It just seems like he's beyond. Not, I put my foot in my mouth because I don't mean it like that's a lesser award. It's not at all. It just, he was up for male performer. It's weird for somebody to be up for male performer and for most improved. If you see what I mean.
That's pretty big deal, though. That is a pretty big deal.
Right. But it's kind of odd. It's unusual.
And it says a lot about his ability and his character altogether to be voted and nominated as most improved and nominated as male performer was. I mean, because he could have won both. Definitely could have won both.
Sure.
But yeah, that's a big deal altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because God knows his performance is. Who doesn't love to see Carly Bravo come into the building, right?
I'm special.
By the way,
I mean,
while we're on Carly Bravo, it just premiered yesterday. As you're watching this, it just premiered yesterday. It's on YouTube, Impact Wrestling's YouTube. Carly Bravo versus Zicky Dice. That's
right. BTI.
Yeah, on the BTI before the Impact. It's on their YouTube channel. It premiered last night, so it's there. You can go watch it at any point now if you haven't seen it yet. But what a great match. It was Carly's debut for Impact. Of course, Zicky's been with Impact for a while now. And I mean, just two guys that if you follow them on social media, they have a show together. You know, they're great friends, but also sometimes your best friends could be even better enemies when you're in the ring and can put on better the best matches.
Yeah.
And anyways, GB and I, luckily we got to see it live at Center Stage a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome. So if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it on Impact's YouTube channel. Zicky Dice versus Carly Bravo. So
both of their personalities are larger than life, so you know that's going to be good.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it,
While we're talking about good matches or great matches even, let me go ahead and give you a quick rundown of what's been announced for SHW 48, which is coming to you February 10th, the second Friday of February. So just a couple of weeks away. Now, next week, we will give you a big old preview show of all those matches. But just real quick, just so you can hear what the matches are, we've got tag team titles will be on the line. Happy Madness defending against Michael Stevens. Marvelous Michael Stevens and Matt Sells, which an unusual pairing
team. Yes.
Interesting team, but could be there could be a upset in the making here at SHW 48. We've got Carly Bravo. We were just talking about him taking on the returning Corey Hollis. He returned last month. This will be his first singles match back since he got retired at Still Here 3 back in 2021. 6-man tag team action. You got Exotic Youth, the current tag team of the year in Georgia, taking on Top Team, and they'll be teaming with Cyrus the Destroyer. Ooh, I do not envy Exotic Youth in that match. Let's see, we got a championship match. Gunnar Miller defending against the new #1 contender Chip Day. So that's going to be awesome. We talked about styles clashing. Sometimes styles make matches, and so this is going to be a good one. You've got the Dark City Street Fight, Murder One, Joe Black, gonna be incredible. And
makes me nervous.
If it's any, I mean, we saw Joe Black and Huckabee have that dog collar match a few years ago, and I mean, it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And I'm sure this will be right up there.
Literally tore the ring to pieces.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah. We had I mentioned the current wrestler of the year, 3-time award or 3 award winner this year, Nick Halen, will be back in action. He'll be taking on Parker Lee. Parker Lee will be making his return. He was in the Diamond Cup Invitational, but this will be his singles match debut at SHW. And then the Best of 7 Southeast Best of 7 series continues with match 6 between Najicism and Owen Knight. Najicism is currently up in the series 3-2, so he can either take the whole thing or Owen Knight can tie it up. We shall see on February 10th. So those are the matches announced thus far.
Show.
And I mean,
it is a big show.
Talk about a stacked card. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. 2 big championship matches and the Dark City Street Fight. I mean, it's going to be nuts. So definitely join us for that February 10th, but also join all 3 of us back here next week as we give you the full preview of that show, SHW 48. But again, great time at the awards show last Friday. So glad I got to be there.
You missed a good time. You missed out.
Yeah, keep checking social media for more photos and videos that'll be released. And you can go to the GWH page if you want to see the full list of winners. And again, like you guys already mentioned, I'm so thrilled I got to be a part of it and host it with you guys and become 3-time award winners with you guys as well. So that's going to do it for us here at SHW. This is our wrestling. But until we see you next week, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.